One, two, three, the lawn feed.
Welcome to another episode of the Lawn Feed Podcast. Collectively, the Lawn Feed are three dads with a strong passion for lawn care. We deliver everything lawn care to you in a simplified, easy to listen to way in a space where all experiences are welcome, egos are left at the door, successes are celebrated, and there are no failures, only learning moments. MOWMEMENTS. Help if I could spell. Cool. I'm Chris, from Up It's Mow Time, and alongside me is Vince with Rooted Lawn Co. I almost called you Andrew. But Andrew is not here. He is dealing with weather stuff over in Western Michigan.
Lots of weather things.
Lots
but
of
howdy.
weather things.
Thanks for
What's up,
Thanks
Vince?
for joining.
Welcome back.
Yeah,
Question
I guess
mark?
so. Yeah, I guess I haven't
Get
been
to
here.
that in this.
We'll hit on why in a
Yeah.
couple 2-3 minutes.
Two tree. But tonight we're going to be talking about all things summer lawn care. There's a lot of mistakes that could be made in summer. And we're going to go over the things that maybe we should watch out for and maybe just be preview to, if you would. So the heat is high. In other places other than where I'm at, there is no rain. But we are getting hot and we are getting fungus, and it puts our DIY skills to the test and honestly our patience to the max. I'm wondering why we got into this hobby called lawn care sometimes. So just kind of a real talk episode of, hey, we're in it too. This is the stuff that we've made mistakes of in the past. And stick around and we will certainly refine our skills to get you through the rest of the game. And on that note, Andrew's not here because of the weather thing. I do want to just take a quick minute. We've got a lot of people out there dealing with weather stuff. Heat, whether it's heat, whether it's severe weather. There's flooding all through the upper Midwest where we're at, Dakotas, Iowa, Minnesota, Nebraska. We're here talking about grass. And for those of you listening, we hope to be that escape here. And we thank you for listening, but we are also aware of what's going on. There's a lot of people going through a lot of tough deck of cards, if you would, from a weather perspective. So if you've had damaged property or injuries or anything like that, God forbid, we just want to say thinking of you guys and thanks for listening to us. And we hope that we can, bring some light and shed some light to, a brighter day here. So just wanted to shout out those people, but we got a lot of cool things to talk about. At the end of the day, we're talking about grass, trying to get here through summer. So let's dive into it, Vince. Yeah.
Let's take a quick moment. As always, we'd like to thank our friends at Twin City Seed for powering this season of the Lawn Feed Podcast. And they have something a little bit extra special here for you guys. If you 7/1, so July 1st, this will be coming out. You're probably listening to it after July 1st, so this should already be fresh in your feed. The lawn feed. The Twin City Seed is launching 2 new blends of grass seed. They listen to us. They listen that we want our grass to be dark green. We want to just dominate. We want dark stripes, dark grass, you name it. So they have 2 new blends. They have Nightfall and they have Tough Turf After Dark. So the Nightfall is a 70% Kentucky bluegrass and a 30% perennial ryegrass with the darkest cultivars of Kentucky bluegrass and perennial ryegrass on the market. Chris's lawn has 2 of the perennial ryes in there. So if you've seen his lawn, you know it is looking on point. I'm super excited. I'm actually going to get some of this myself and plant some in my front. And I cannot wait. Then the Tough Turf After Dark, I will highly speak to Tough Turf. I've done several renovations for clients now, and I'm blown away. I feel like Tough Turf is just kind of undervalued because it is dark green. It is quick germinating. It is low maintenance, low inputs. I mean, it's amazing. But again, they're making it better, and it was already dark. My neighbor, we patched up some spots on his, and he has some zoysia, and the contrast between the Tough Turf and the zoysia is insane. It's almost like patches of POA in your perennial rye. It's that different. But this one's the After Dark. So it's a tri-blend, perennial ryegrass, tall fescue, and Kentucky bluegrass. And the perks of this one is you're going to get that super dark green color. It's low input, less maintenance, and quick germinating because they got that perennial rye in there. So these are limited releases. So first come, first serve. Get on there, get it done. Even if it's not time to plant right now, just get them. They're gone until 2025. And then in the spring of 2025, they'll come back. So make sure you head over there. Also for all of our friends, save money on the grass seed, use the code LawnFeed10. And then free shipping, always at the top of their banner. They always have a note that says about free shipping, and it's free ship 24. And they also sell in Canada. So head on over to www.twincityseed.ca for Canada and www.twincityseed.com for us here in the US of A.
It's about time to start thinking about fall projects.
I'm so ready for fall already.
It's crazy. It's the 4th of July. Like I remember 4th of July, like growing up. After 4th of July, summer's over. Basically.
That was like the last
I don't know.
big holiday.
We're about to go in from we're about at like the real summer, and then in the next stage of summer, it's like we're in the Hell's Porch. Like we're flirting with Hell's Porch, and then we're gonna get to like Fool's Fall. It's crazy. It's nuts. Wow. But you just came back off of a little sabbatical here. For lack of a better term. That's not actually true, but it's been, you've got some news to share. We'll just put it that way. We're going to hit Dad's Wins and Losses. You've got some big ones to share. Dad's Wins and Losses is sponsored by our friends over at WaySafe Trailer Hitchers. WaySafe is the only trailer hitch on the market with built-in scales to measure tongue weight, not the one in your mouth, the one on the trailer hitch, to ensure the safest towing experience possible to keep you and your family safe while towing. This is the cool part, though. You can use code TLF15 at checkout for 15% off your entire order over at way-safe.com. High-end trailer hitches. I love that thing. It's freaking sweet.
Incredible.
It's super high production. It's unreal. But yeah, so at any rate, let's kick this thing off.
A lawn feed tradition where we tap into who we are at heart. Dads! This is Dad's Wins and Losses, where we tap into our inner dad bod father figures and highlight some of the recent wins we've experienced as parents, and of course, vent about the embarrassing losses we take each and every day as dads.
I love you, Daddy.
Aw, sounds like your daughters.
Yeah.
Vince, you've got some news to share.
I do. I will introduce my friends here that are listening to Camden Scott. He is our newest addition, baby boy. He was born in the beginning of June. Mama and baby are healthy. Everyone's recovering. That's a huge W. Just one of the blessing of being able to have a child and, having him come into the world safely with mom and the baby is just, there's so many things that can go wrong, and just truly blessed that we got provided. So that's a huge W on my end. And with all W's, there's also some L's too. So
well, hang on, buddy. We gotta
crack one open for me.
Gotta crack one open for that. Cheers to you. Cheers to the fam. We're super pumped you got your baby boy, and super happy for you, man. Congrats.
Yeah, and I got this really cool book that is all about his name and stuff from some guy named Chris. So yeah, thank you.
You got it, buddy.
I'd say the loss, it's a loss, but it's also a win. So I work full time, do this full time. My mindset is, I'm up at 4:30. I go to the gym. I'm moving and grooving. So then when you switch focus, you switch momentum to now you're stay-at-home dad managing the girls while your wife manages the baby. You're just like, what am I doing? Like, I'm not working out. I'm not productive. All I do is just wrangle these minions all day long. And it took some adjusting. It's not easy at all. So like for stay-at-home moms, stay-at-home dads, huge props to you, because that is,
I don't know how they do that.
Such an important job. I love it. I love that people do that. I think it's super beneficial, but I don't think I could do that. Now it has gotten really cool. Like I'm to the point now where like I usually get up early to go to the gym, but I don't want to. I want to be at home. I love waking up and making the girls pancakes and sitting outside on the patio and just those slow mornings that we've all slowly adjusted to and stuff. You can't ever get those days back, and I'm kind of bummed that I'm going to have to go back to work here soon. So, yeah, but it's been awesome.
Yeah, that's sweet. That's sweet. I remember, growing up, I was like, oh, what do you want to be when you grow up? Oh, dream job, stay at home dad. No, I couldn't do it. You're right. Props to all you people that are doing that, especially now in the summertime. Like summer's off, and then like they're just like forced to do it too.
Mhm.
Like it's like COVID all over again, kind of.
Yeah, but yeah. So speaking of wins and losses, we're also having some losses in the summer lawn. So,
Oh yeah,
what are some issues that you're seeing right now? High heat, drought, humidity, fungus, you name it, you probably are seeing it right now. Dog pee spots, if you got dogs. That's where having a solid plan before you get into the summer is crucial. And if you don't, we're kind of in damage control, and we just gotta ride the wave until fall. But Chris, what's a good tip on what are some things about watering? What are some things we can be doing at this point in the summer?
No doubt. It's a super important topic because I feel like this is where a lot of problems come from, either because we're watering too much, or we're underwatering, or we're not watering where we should be watering. And it all comes down to like some controllables, especially like in-ground irrigations and stuff like that, right? So obviously with a dry patch or a dry spell in the summertime, we're not going through this. We have too much rain, but majority of the nation is going through a drought and a dry patch and a heat patch. So when should you water? The best time, the most popular, the most common mistake I see people make is watering during the day, like because they think their water needs to quote unquote get cooled down. I personally don't know if if there's any like benefit to that,
like syringing.
But what?
Like syringing?
What'd you say? Sorry.
Syringing.
Syringing?
You've never heard of syringing?
No. Enlighten me, please.
All right. So, what some people can do is in the middle of the day, like 2 p.m., 3 p.m., you run your sprinkler for 4 minutes, 5 minutes, just so you get over, say your pattern goes, over the area once or twice. That's it. And you're basically just giving a little bit of water on top of it to kind of cool the turf down. And it's called syringing.
Syringing.
Yeah. So
why is it called syringing?
Because I guess a syringe, you have only a little amount inside of a syringe, so you're only given a little bit of amount on
crazy.
Your turf.
I've never heard that term.
Yeah. So that is a thing. But what I think you're talking about is like full on, hey, I'm doing my half-inch of water or whatever in the middle of the day.
Like right when the soil and the temperature are hottest, right? And that if you've joined any of our episodes in the past, and it's windy and it's like great, none of that water's hitting where you need it to, or in the evening is the other one. We're like right at like 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, maybe 8 o'clock, whatever. When there's so much moisture like that, it's kind of an infestation period for fungus and all of that stuff. It's a prime environment for that that quote unquote disease triangle that we keep talking about. And especially when you get these like hot and humid spells, like you definitely don't want to do it then. I have always recommended to people water before the sunrise. And what I mean by that is like 4 o'clock to like 9, 10 in the morning, and deep and infrequent as much as possible, depending on your soil makeup, of course, but for the majority out there, deep and infrequent. So not watering every day, which a lot of people do during these hot and stressful time periods, but deep and infrequent to drive those roots down to seek water. instead of hang out at the surface and kind of and stress it out, right? But the big one that I always see is like brown patches, localized dry spots will like pop up, and 95% of the time, if someone has an in-ground irrigation system and they see a brown spot just randomly pop up the minute it starts getting hot, you probably need to calibrate your irrigation system and make sure that it is hitting the correct areas properly. And the reason that that thing exists is because we just have never done it. Like we've never calibrated it. It's happened so many times, and like 90, like it happens more than you think. So start there. But I've also mentioned, earlier, if we're not smart with watering, you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot. You're going to have fungus. You're going to have disease. You're going to train your grass to have poor growth habits. And generally speaking, and just kind of being a world of hurt. But watering is very simple. Deep and infrequent. Do it in the early morning hours, right before the sun comes up. And I was not on this episode, and I am going to butcher this because I cannot remember the dude's name. He was talking about when dew is on the grass. Most of the fungal issues stem because of the dew. Thank you. Yep. There it is. Ding, ding, ding. Spin was talking about most of the fungal issues start with the dew. So if you have an irrigation system, knock it down with your irrigation system. And that would be the only reason why you should do that multiple days in a row if you're going through some of those hot and, humid time periods. So, yeah, I mean, we just have to think a little bit more during this time period. That's all.
Yeah.
Right. Look at the weather, look at the humidity, look at the weather patterns, figure out what you need to do. It sounds a lot easier than it is, but that's that. But Vince, the other thing, like watering's there, but then during these hot spells, which I know you're going through, there's a lot of mistakes people make with their equipment and like cultural practices outside of mowing or watering, right?
Yeah. The old scalperoo, or just burn them stripes and baby. But
literally,
as Elsa says, let it grow, let it grow, let it grow.
Let it go.
Oh, let it go. Sorry. Well, this is grass.
You got
this
the two girls. You gotta get on your Frozen game,
podcast. Boy. So let it grow, y'all. Let it get a little shaggy. It pains me. My back right now is shaggy, and I'm just like, oh, it looks so bad. There's no stripes, but
have your wife shave it.
So you just, if you're staying off of it, you're not stressing it out. You're letting it get a little bit longer, which is going to hold in the moisture a little bit. And it will help. Now you can raise the height of cut too at this point. Say you're just figuratively speaking, say you mow at a notch 4. Well, take it up to 4.5 and kind of keep it there over these next couple of hot days, or just don't mow it at all. And that alone, especially if you don't have irrigation, will keep your lawn green. I see so many people, their lawn's green, their lawn's great. It's hot. They go out, they mow it, and then all of a sudden it just goes. And they're like, my grass is dying. I have brown spots everywhere. I was like, yeah, because you just stressed it out when it was so stressed. And now it's just like, I give up. Let's retreat. Let's go dormant. So, speaking of dormancy, we were just talking about watering. Don't water if your turf's already going dormant. You can do more damage than good. The amount of water it's going to, just let it go.
Well, it's either you get to the fork in the road, and what I think you're meaning by this is like, don't not water, right? Your plant is still alive and it still needs water, but like make the choice. If it is going dormant, like you can let it go dormant. It still needs water every couple weeks. Or if it is starting to go dormant, you're going to just need a metric ton of water to wake it up. So you kind of have to kind of have to make that decision in the fork in the road.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah. As I was rambling, don't mow your lawn. It's gonna not cause as much stress to your lawn, especially if you're not irrigating. And then if you are mowing, make sure those blades stay sharp.
God, for real.
Yeah, when you are mowing, you're cutting it. If you don't have a nice clean cut on the turf, you're going to have some blade damage, and that's going to make it more susceptible to any diseases. Again, this is all about preventing diseases. So, sharp blades, and then stripe kits. I know we love our stripes, but when you lay the grass over and you keep laying the grass over in the same direction, you're gonna lay the grass over, which reduces airflow. And again, if you're reducing airflow, there's a lot of humidity, there's a lot of moisture, you're improper watering. You're just asking for fungus to arise in that point. Anything else, Chris, with mowing?
No, I would just we're coming out of I just noticed a bunch of dead seed stalks and all of that stuff. Like your blades, you buzz through that, and I feel like I beat this horse to death. If you continuously have sharp blades and you get those done maybe every month or every other month or whatever it would be, you're going to solve a lot of problems in your lawn just by that, right? And having proper cultural practices with that. But if you have not sharpened your mower blades in the last year, do yourself a favor, go buy a set of mower blades, go get them both sharpened, and that way you will always have sharp blades.
Yep. Rotate them.
And just rotate them. It's as simple as that. But
well, we talked a lot about fungus, so let's dive into that too. The fungus among us.
Yeah, I mean, it's a complicated topic, and we're certainly not going to get to the depths of it in this one. We have talked about fungicides and funguses and disease a lot on this show, and with people who are much more qualified to do it than we are. Yeah. We've had turf scientists and professionals, pathologists, they're on the show historically. Aaron from New Farm has an amazing episode on it from last season. So if you want to take a deep dive in there, go learn and get your socks blown off there. But every single lawn is prone to disease. Everyone. Mine, Vince's, yours, everything. But there's a few things that we can do to prevent fungus. The biggest thing you can do to prevent it is cultural practices that we've mentioned above. Proper watering, proper mowing. We're going to talk about fertilizer here in a second, but summer is not the time to go over fertilizer, dump, throw her down inside of the summertime, right? That seems like the thing to do. Our grass is brown. We want to green it up. Fertilizer makes it green. That is not the right thing to do, right? As much as you want to go do it, it's the wrong thing. Can be the wrong thing. There is a proactive and a reactive approach to fungus. And I'll stop and kind of go through this triangle. You need three things to be present in order to have a fungus kind of appear in your lawn, right? You are going to have the host plant. That is the top of the point. That's the top point. That is the literal plant, the blades of grass that you see in your lawn. The second point is going to be the pathogen, which is the disease itself. But then the third point is going to be the environment, right? And you need all three of those to be present. And a lot of these are, the environment is the one that's kind of missing, right? You're going to need a hot, wet, moist, keep her moist, and humid environment in order for everything to kind of fire up. Very similar to how storms happen, right? You need certain ingredients in order for storms and severe weather to happen. It's kind of the same thing, but just a little bit different.
Big storm guy.
Big storm guy. But the big thing that people, I think the most common one that people watch for in the most basic of terms is the 150 rule, where your air temperature added to your humidity, that percentage, that number, is equal to or greater 150. That environment is prone to have everything fire off, right? Mm-hmm. So when that happens, we just need to have a plan in place, right? And that's where the proactive nature comes in versus the reactive nature, right? Proactive, we can work with things with fungicides outside of cultural practices if you choose to do this. A preventative fungicide can be beneficial when you know you're at high risk, like I just said. There's a granular, there's a liquid that you can do. Scott's Disease X, Exacostrobin is probably the most common out there. The Andersons has one too with propiconazole. There's a lot of different granulars that you can get. Personally, I like to do liquids because I think you get a little bit more cost savings there, and I think they're a little bit more effective. Just from my personal experience. I have absolutely no scientific data surrounding that. I've just found out that liquids perform better because you get more even coverage.
Yeah, exactly. You get a better coverage, but then also a lot of the turf, or a lot of the disease is actually on the leaf blade. So if you're applying a liquid and it's getting on the leaf blade, you would, in theory, think it would be doing better. Go on.
Yeah, exactly. You just said that way better than I was about to, so that's perfect.
That's what I'm here for.
So get like a concentrate. You can get a ready to spray hose and sprays if you're not ready to take that plunge, but concentrates will always be the more cost effective route. There's BioAdvance, there's Bonide, there's the generic models for like commercial or things like that, but just do what you can. Obviously read the label with all of these before applying, and you got to know what you're trying to treat. And this is the complicated part. Not all fungicides will control or prevent everything, and that's where professionals need to get involved. There are hundreds and thousands of local universities and extensions that have great resources that we can reach out to understand what the heck is going on in your lawn, right? They will likely help you out with identification, but some of their advice is also going to be rotate between different groups of fungicides to put yourself in the best position. For example, a group 3 versus 11 and rotate them and things of that nature. Right. So there's different things and strategies that you can do with these. And like I said, there's a couple different resources that we've done in previous seasons that we're not going to get to the depths of in this episode that cover this very well. But red thread, brown patch, dollar spot, the list goes on and on. Pythium, like all of it, right? It is covered on how to identify it, what approach to take in both a proactive and then a curative state in your lawn should you see something. Aaron does a phenomenal job at that. So go check that out. I can't remember the specific episode, but it's somewhere in season 2. Aaron Hathaway from New Farm over in Michigan. So great episode. But I mentioned fertilizing, Vince, and what not to do with that, but let's hit on that a little bit.
Yeah. And I think with fertilizing and also any product we put down, including the fungicides, I know a lot of people like to talk about the 4 R's, which are right source, right rate, right time, right place. Yeah. So make sure that all those 4 R's are meeting. So, right source, what fertilizers are you using? The last episode we had with Nick from Yara, we talked about, certain types of nitrogen and how they could make Kentucky bluegrass more prone to brown patch. So go back and take a look at that. For your rates, make sure you're not over applying. Generally you come out of your spring 4 to 8 weeks of if you're doing granular and you're putting down your next application that's going to take you into fall. Make sure you're not just throwing down tons of nitrogen or fertilizer in general, NPK. And if you are doing spoon feeding, then make sure, you're not, I'm going to touch base on that here in a second, but make sure you're not going too heavy on that either. Right time, just make sure that it's not bone dry and your turf is already turning brown and you're out there throwing down fertilizer thinking you're going to revive it. You're just wasting resources and And then right place, make sure you know where you're using them, we're allowed to use them, not allowed to use them, things like that.
Read the label.
Yeah, there's this thing called a label, and it's
crazy.
Tells you what you need to do. But I mentioned spoon feeding. I personally love to spoon feed. I have 2 kids, and a third one on the way, or a third one here that's on the way to be spoon feeding. So we do a lot of spoon feeding in my house, and my turf likes to be spoon fed by me too. So
you're well, you've caught up on sleep, I can tell.
Yeah. So spoon feeding basically is you're just little spoonfuls of fertilizer. So I like to use AMS. I melt that down. There's other things like Simple Lawn Solutions and whatnot. And spoon feeding at about 1.5 I'm sorry, 0.15 to 0.2. Stand corrected. 0.2. Make sure you have that 0.2 pounds. You thought I was caught up on sleep. Everyone's not going to be out there burning their lawn. 0.2 pounds. So I do about 0.2 pounds of N, and that's enough that it's giving you a little bit of growth, and you're not going to worry about burning it or cause excessive growth or anything like that. And I do that bi-weekly. I'm trying to think of what it is. I think it's Greencast, which is has a growth calculator or something like that. This is getting advanced, but basically it'll tell you, like, if you're spoon feeding, and you're looking for X amount, it'll say like, all right, it goes off growing degree days. So like this,
I was about to say,
this week it's like we put down 1.23, and then 2 weeks later you put down 0.2, and like it's pretty cool. We've talked about it before, but it's a little more advanced. What you need to know right now is just don't put down more than like 0.2 at a bi-weekly time. And again, we had that rep Nick from Yara on talking about fertilizers and nitrogen sources. So go back and take a look at that.
Good episode.
It was so good. It was basic, but it was like still like a lot of aha moments that just make you more of a competent DIYer, which is what we're trying to help you become.
He did a fantastic job at making a complex topic incredibly easy to understand.
Yep.
It was great. I wasn't on that one. I was jealous.
Yeah.
But you guys got to talk. We'll have to have him back on. There's a lot to talk about in that one. But
so summer fertilizing, don't make it more complicated than it has to be. Light doses.
Keep it simple, stupid.
Yep, exactly.
KISS method. That's lawn care in general, right? It's super easy, right? You just got to like grow it, right?
Yeah, it's easy.
Yeah, super easy. If you can't catch our sarcasm via the microphone airwaves.
You know what's funny is I actually put down an application on my rye, and I was gonna just do AMS, and I didn't, and I put something else down. Like 2 days later, I start dollar spot popping up. I'm like, should have done it. Should have listened. Yeah. So even when you think you have it all figured out, boom,
you do not.
It humbles you.
Mother Nature will kick you straight in the groin and humble you pretty good. Something we haven't talked about, I guess 2 things. Grubs. It's that time of year to kind of talk grubs and kind of what to really do. I think more it's preventative right now than anything. But you can make sure you have a preventative grub control down if you've had known issues before. Grub X from Scott's is a good one. It's probably the best you can use. Scott's Grub X is probably the most popular, or a liquid acelepryn. Especially, and Vince, I have not dealt with these. You have, but armyworms.
Yeah, they suck.
So that's something. But here's something, a piece of advice that I learned very early on. I had a little bit of a panic mode where it's like you lift up a thing of grass, right? If you think you have an outbreak, where you just start seeing, kind of dead patches everywhere, dig up an area. If there are a lot of grubs, some grubs are perfectly fine. But if you have like more than 5 to 10 per square foot, that's kind of like when to, look at, the 24-hour immediate growth control action. Yeah. Send up the smoke signals and that kind of thing. But like, if you pull up your turf and you see a few grubs, totally normal, guys. I've actually had a lot of people like email me over the course of the past couple of years saying like, there's one grub. I've got to, no, totally normal. Totally normal. But then the other thing is herbicides. And the only thing I'm going to comment on right here is if you're going to be using a common like liquid herbicide, there 95% of the time is a heat warning on there. And I think that heat warning most commonly is anywhere between 85 and 90 degrees Fahrenheit for the air temperature. And if it is summertime and it is like 85 in Minnesota, most of the country is over that limit for cool season. So when we look at that, and if you spray your lawn with that, it will damage the turf sometimes to the point where it won't come back. And I literally had a neighbor do it last week. We have a neighbor who's out. I see him out there with the sprayer, fucking Brad, and he is. You can't help but laugh because it's like we've all been there, right? You go out there with your hand pump sprayer that you get at Home Depot for $16 and you mix up whatever because whatever. And he goes out there. It is literally balls hot, probably 96 degrees and humid. looks like a cheetah.
I'm gonna get you, Clover.
Oh yeah, it got him. It got the clover. It also got the lawn. But no, like it'll look like a cheetah looking lawn, polka dots everywhere. So yeah, if you see that, you know what happened. It's either they got dogs, then they're doing that, or not following the label on the herbicide. So, but anything to add there, Vince?
No, I would just say as problems arise, as you continue to learn with us and yourself, we have a Mowtime mailbag, and you can submit your questions there, and we're happy to talk about them on air, talk about them live, and go through them and try and help you come up with a little bit more of a plan, or just give you some extra education. And if we don't know the answers, then we always try to provide you with additional resources to, local extensions or some of the other pros within our community. So Mowtime mailbag, it's on our website. Go check that out. And hopefully we can continue to help you.
Yeah. And our mailbag is getting full, which is why we're not doing it on this episode. We're probably going to have a couple Mowtime mailbag, spin-off episodes, if you would. Probably hitting on those exclusively. So we like to try to keep these around a half hour. Some of them go longer because we're having fun. We like to have fun too. But like Vince said, man, we are learning and on this journey together. And summer is a time where we all think we're failing. I encourage you all to be patient and tell yourself to be patient, and encourage your other people who are in this with you in your circle to be patient, because it is a journey throughout the summertime. No doubt. But before we wrap, you guys, go check out thelawnfeed.com. Like Vince said, submit a Mowtime mailbag question on there, but also get some amazing lawn gear. There's nothing better than a good mowing shirt, right? We got to elevate our lawn shirts, sweatshirts, and much more. Take 15% off your entire order by entering Brad15 due to his polka dot and spraying his herbicided clover the other day. Brad15 to get 15% off your entire order at thelawnfeed.com on all of our swag. On behalf of the Lawn Feed crew and a powerless, I think, Andrew over in West Michigan, thank you for joining us on another episode at the Lawn Feed podcast. Stay safe out there. Good luck in this week's venture of parenthood, and we will catch you on the next one. Bye-bye.
See ya.